Good morning, ma'am. This is Pratibha from CSCA section. Today I discuss about the types of machine learning. What is machine learning? Machine learning is the branch of AI that focuses on developing models and algorithms that let computers learn from data and improve from previous experience without being explicitly programmed for every task. In simple words, ML teaches the system to think and understand like humans by learning from the data. We will explore the various types of machine learning algorithms that are important for future requirements. Machine learning is generally a training system to learn from past experiences and improve performance over time. Machine learning helps to predict massive amount of data. It helps to deliver fast and accurate results to get profitable opportunities. Types of machine learning. There are several types of machine learning, each with special characteristics and applications. Some of the main types of machine learning algorithms are as follows: supervised machine learning, unsupervised machine learning, semi supervised learning, reinforcement learning. Supervised machine learning. Supervised learning is defined as when a model gets trained on labeled datasets. Labeled datasets have both input and output parameters. In supervised learning algorithms, learns to map points between input and correct output. It has both training and validation datasets labeled. How it works, where supervised learning algorithm consists of input features and corresponding output labels. The process works through training data and learning process. Training data means the model is provided with a trained dataset that includes input data like features and corresponding output data like labels or target variables. Learning process means the algorithm process the training data, learning the relationship between the input features and the output labels. This is achieved by adjusting the model's parameters to minimize the difference between its prediction and actual labels. Types of supervised learning. Supervised learning can be applied to main types of problem. There are classification and regression. Classification means where the output is categorical variable. For example, spam versus non-spam emails, yes or no. Regression means where the output is a continuous variable like predicting house prices and stock markets. Example for supervised machine learning is consider a scenario where you have to build an image classified to between cats and dogs. If you feed the datasets of dog and cats labeled images to the algorithm, the machine will learn to classify between a dog or a cat from these labeled images where we input dog or cat images that it has never seen before. It will be used the learned algorithms and predict whether it is a dog or cat. This is how supervised learning works, and this is a particularly an image classification. And this is the example for supervised learning. Unsupervised machine learning means it is a type of machine learning technique in which an algorithm discovers patterns and relationships using unlabeled data. Unlike supervised learning, unsupervised learning does not involve providing the algorithm with labeled target output. The primary goal of unsupervised learning is often to discover hidden patterns, similarities, or clusters within the data, which can then be used for various purposes such as data exploration, visualization, dimensionality, reduction, and more. How it works. Unsupervised learning works by analyzing unlabeled data to identify patterns and relationships. The data is not labeled with any predefined categories or outcomes. So the algorithm must find these patterns and relationships on its own. This can be a challenging task, but it can also be very rewarding as it can reveal insights into the data that would not be apparent from the labeled data set. Example for unsupervised machine learning is consider that you have a data set that contains information about the purchases you made from the shop. Through clustering, the algorithm can group the same purchasing behavior among you and other customers, which reveals potential customers without predefined labels. This is a type of information can be businesses get target customers as well as identify outliers. There are two main categories of unsupervised learning, that is clustering and association. Semi-supervised machine learning. Semi-supervised machine learning is a type of machine learning that falls in between the supervised and unsupervised learning. It is a method that uses a small amount of labeled data and a large amount of unlabeled data to train a model. The goal of semi-supervised learning is to learn a function that can accurately predict the output variable based on the input. It is supervised learning. However, unlike supervised learning, the algorithm is trained on a data set that contains both the labeled and unlabeled data. Semi-supervised machine learning is particularly useful when there is a large amount of unlabeled data available but is too expensive or difficult to label all of it. Examples of semi-supervised machine learning is text classification. In text classification, the goal is to classify a given text into one or more predefined categories. Semi-supervised learning can be used to train a text classification model using a small amount of labeled data and a large amount of unlabeled data, text data. Image classification means in image classification, the goal is to classify a given image into one or more predefined categories. Semi-supervised learning can be used to train an image classification model using a small amount of labeled data and a large amount of unlabeled data, image data, and anomaly detection. In anomaly detection, the goal is to detect patterns or observations that are unusual or different from the norm. These three are the examples for semi-supervised machine learning. Reinforcement machine learning. Reinforcement means a branch of machine learning that focuses on how agents can learn to make decisions, create trial and error to maximize cumulative rewards. Reinforcement is a learning lessons to learn by interacting within an environment and receiving feedback. Based on their actions, this feedback comes in the form of rewards or penalties. Reinforcement learning revolves around the idea that an agent, the learner or decision maker interacts with an environment to achieve a goal. The agent performs action and receives feedback to optimize its decision making over time. Example for reinforcement learning is navigating a maze. Imagine a robot navigating a maze to reach a diamond while avoiding five hazards. The goal is to find the optimal path with the least number of hazards while maximize the reward. Each time the robot moves correctly, it receives a reward. If the robot takes the wrong path, it loses points. The robot learns by exploring different paths in the maze. By various moving, it evaluates the rewards and penalties for each path. Over time, the robot determines the best route by selecting the actions that lead to the highest cumulative reward. And this is about the reinforcement learning. Thank you, ma'am.